Hi, San Francisco. How's it going? I'm going to time myself here just so I stay honest. So I'm not actually texting. That's what I'm doing with my phone. I don't have any slides either, so you're just going to have to focus on me. Thanks for the intro, John. Like he said, I used to work in the agency world on the sell side. So I worked at large digital agencies like Organic. I was a technology director and a creative director. And I did that for about 7 years until I decided to hook up with a couple smart friends and found a new kind of business focusing on Twitter. So is there anybody here who's not a Twitter user? Raise your hand. Wow. There's one dude. Everybody else is on Twitter. Okay, this is going to be really easy. For the one guy, let's briefly define what Twitter is. So defining Twitter is an interesting question, right? Even Twitter struggles with this. So Twitter is a short message service. Twitter originally came out of SMS, which was 160 characters. Twitter itself is 140. It's a short message service that connects people all around the globe. And they're sharing information about business, about politics, about music, from the most banal topics to the most important, right? So Twitter is just this global sort of collective consciousness of these very short messages. And I think the key first question to address is, so what? You know, who cares? Why is Twitter interesting to us as advertisers and marketers? And I think the answer to that is very simple. These are 100 million of the most digitally engaged, influential consumers on the planet. They're all grouped together for you right there. If you're interested in influencing the influencers, that's Twitter. And so you may have heard, if you either follow our press or follow Twitter's press, that your prayers have been answered. There's now a solution for advertising on Twitter. There's actually going to be more than one. And so I'm just going to talk about some of the questions that you probably want to be thinking about as a marketer when approaching Twitter and Twitter advertising. And then at the end, I'll just talk a little bit about what we do at 140 Proof. So I think the first thing to think about is to think about the diversity of the ecosystem in Twitter. So Twitter is comprised of not just twitter.com, which everybody's familiar with, but over 70,000 different applications. So these are applications on the desktop, Mac and Windows. These are mobile applications. These are clients like just SMS clients and websites. So there's a huge diversity in the ecosystem, and I think one of the things that's very valuable to marketers and advertisers and media buyers is someone who can provide simplicity and who can aggregate those together in a simple, meaningful way. Because what you really probably don't want to have to do is navigate the sea of all these very different applications which are popping up at a very rapid rate. I think one of the things that's also very interesting is to look at the way that Twitter can be bought. So this is an incredibly new field, right? The announcement was made last Wednesday, I think, from Dick Costolo at Twitter. We've been live for about 3 months, so we were a little bit before them. But even the decision of, are you buying on a CPM basis, or are you buying on a CPC basis, or are you buying on something new, like a cost per retweet basis, this is very interesting. So for those not familiar with the innards of Twitter and what a retweet is kind of like an email forward. So in Twitter, the default reaction to a message that you like, that resonates, is to share it with your friends, to hit a button that says retweet. And one of the powerful things about Twitter advertising is that retweet happens in the comments, it happens in public. It's entirely trackable, right? So for the first time, that pass-along effect that everybody has built into their media plans since back in the print days is now very quantifiable. So you have sort of a paid reach number, and you have an additional earned reach number based on what's the second-order effect of messages being retweeted through the ecosystem. I think another very interesting thing about Twitter advertising is the beauty of the constraints. So Twitter is very simple. A tweet is very simple. When we talk about advertising on Twitter, we're usually talking about one of two things. We're talking about either being in search or being in the stream. I'm very biased towards being in the stream based on what I know about performance of advertising in social networks. I think those of you who've experimented with Facebook and doing different kinds of buys there will be able to back me up on this. The conversion rates in the stream, based on what's over, in the right rail or something like that, they just don't compare. So being in the stream is being very close to the consumer, and I think that there's a lot of power in that. But when you're getting into the stream, you have some very interesting targeting questions to address, right? So there are keywords. The keywords are very interesting because those are keywords that a user has mentioned, right? So you're indexing on topics that are already of interest to the user. You also have who a user is following on Twitter, right? So these are interest-based signals. Who are they interested in following today? What sorts of content are they interested in? You could even target based on level of influence. So you might say, I only want this ad to be shown to people with a minimum of 1,000 followers or 5,000 followers. And so you're playing with the size of your audience in exchange for how influential they are. And these are very interesting questions and very new things to think about. Like I said briefly, I'll plug us at the end here. We're 140 proof. We're the first and only vendor that can sell Twitter advertising today. Twitter may authorize additional partners in the future. But we are live today with over 800 advertisers, and we have a very targeted in-stream advertising solution for Twitter. We also have a special promotion. If you follow 140 Proof Media on Twitter, we'll auto DM you back with a special offer for AdTech attendees where you save some money. Thank you.
Back on schedule.